Okay, so we're here on North Highway Road. We spent the last 2 days down in the southern part of the park visiting various places, including Badwater Basin, which is the lowest point in North America, in the Western Hemisphere, below sea level. That's dry. And we didn't video there because there were a ton of people there, because that's the place to visit in Death Valley, and so we were just like, we took our obligatory picture and we got out of there. Behind me is White Top Mountain. White Top Mountain has a story for us. The last time we were here in 2009, we visited White Top Mountain over New Year's. As you can see, it has snow on it. It's called White Top Mountain for a reason. The group we were with decided to go up there, and it was really cold, and our 5-gallon jugs on the front of our dormobile of water froze solid. It was so cold. And we had the heater on in the dormobile all night long, which is the only time we've ever done that. It was really ridiculously cold. And after that, we decided to do our own thing, and we left the group. We are now headed to the racetrack and Yuba crater. So that's our plan. We're heading up there for tonight, and hopefully we can get to the racetrack.
And we're finally away from all the people.
All alone here in Death Valley.
So we're here at Yuba Crater, the end of the paved road at Death Valley National Park. It's not too crowded today, and Yuba is this cool crater that's behind us. We always thought it was a volcanic explosion, but it's actually where magma hit groundwater, so it's a steam explosion called a MARS, M-A-A-R-S. And you can see there's a fault line that goes through the crater, and there's a little bit of bedrock that goes down there, and it made debris for 80 miles in all directions, and there's about 5 or 6 craters that are here, and this is all thanks to my Geology Underfoot by Robert Sharp and Alan Glazner, and I force these guys to listen to and read this book every stop we make on the trip. Anything else? Now we're headed out to the racetrack on a bumpy drive in our van. On our way out to the racetrack, we passed through a Joshua tree forest, and as you can see, it was in the snow. It was very, very beautiful, but our ride was quite uncomfortable in the van.
We are here at Kettle Junction, and as you can see, people leave tea kettles here, and they've all got a lot of names on them and dates. Seems like they're all pretty recent though, so it seems like the Park Service probably comes through and takes down some of the tea kettles. There's some cool, interesting ones. We've seen 2 flat tires on our way out here from other people, but we're doing pretty good in our van.
And there's flat tire Kia with no people, so we're not sure what happened to them. And then we saw a Jeep, one of the little low-end Jeeps with no low range.
Yeah. We're headed to the racetrack next.
6 miles, 6 more bumpy miles. The last 6 miles out to the racetrack were very, very bumpy. Our van has upgraded shocks, but they're not that great. So by this time of the day, they were getting very hot, and you can see the van starting to really shake, rattle, and roll. Then the other thing that coupled with that is the tire pressure on the van needs to be at 80 psi, and we couldn't drop down our tire pressure because we have no way to air back up until we got 100 miles into the next town. So we left the tire pressure at 80, and we paid for it. You can see here we try one side of the road, and then we try the other side of the road. A high-powered air compressor is now on my Amazon wish list. Finally, I tried this driving technique, which is the non-driving technique. Nothing worked very well. We made it to the racetrack!
It's 5 hours in the car, we think.
About 5 hours to get here, and we're out here at the racetrack. Okay.
It's this flat playa, dry lake bed. It's one of the flattest natural places on Earth, north of the southern end, which is about 2 inches lower than the northern end. It's really flat, and one of the things that happens here is these rocks leave these tracks. So we found one really long track, and we're going to follow it.
And we don't know where it goes, where the rock is, but here's the track is starting here. We're going to follow it. There's another track over here that just started.
You can see the track kind of curves a little bit as the wind changes direction.
Wow.
This is a really long track.
Yeah. Wow.
I think we'll see the end.
I think I do too.
And you can see this is another track that's just started with a bigger rock. Somebody's brought their dog out here like probably.
You cross a track here.
There's the end.
And here's the rock. We walked around the racetrack for quite a while looking at all the different tracks. And then we stopped and we set up what is arguably my favorite family photo that we've ever taken. From the racetrack, we left and went to Home Stake Dry Camp, which was about a mile down the road, where we set up camp for the evening. After a restful night's sleep, we went back to the racetrack in the morning.
So we're here back at the racetrack. We were here yesterday, but it was cold and windy, so we left. And now we're back again today. It's really interesting because yesterday we all thought the playa was gray, but now we can tell that it's brown. So we did a little reading last night about the racetrack. So one of the cool things here, is all of these rocks around us move. And you can see there's tracks on the ground of where they've moved over time. We're at the south end, and they're moving northward. And there's been a lot of theories throughout time. There's several playas like this in Southern California, but this is the most famous one and the most defined tracks. But there's several prevailing theories. The one in our geology book, which was published in the 90s, they mainly said that when it rained, it got wet, and the wind blew the rocks. But since then, our scientific equipment has gotten a little better, and we can do stuff like put cameras out here and measure a lot more stuff. And so since then, they have measured and they've discovered that it's actually ice. What happens is it'll rain in the wintertime, the water will freeze around the rocks, and then it'll break up and push, and the wind will come and push the rocks with the ice across the playa. So it's cool too because you can see some of the rocks change directions a little bit. Sometimes they go backwards instead of forwards, and there's certain spots where you can tell that they stopped between events, and they're called sits points.
See right here. Yeah, it's not great here. We'll look for a better example, and
Yeah.
we'll look for where it turns.
I'll put a picture of one up on screen right now that's much better than this one here.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and now we're headed out because there's water out there and we want to go see the water.
We are all alone
Yeah.
on the playa today. Yeah.
So.
And you can see the track really well here. Yeah.
And it's that big rock. And for size possible, this is a really big rock. 'Cause
Yeah.
I could not pick up this rock.
Here we are at the water's edge. Not very interesting, but interesting that the water goes all across the whole lake bed at certain times, and that's how the rocks move. Join us next week as we explore Artist Drive in Death Valley National Park.